Hi everyone, today's episode is about traveling.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good one. I hope so.
And I think it's pretty common experience for everyone right now.
For sure.
And I'm planning a trip, and I don't want to do it. Instead, I'm recording this podcast, even though I have to.
Where are you going to go?
Spain and Portugal.
Oh, both of them? Nice.
Yeah, for a month's trip.
Oh shit, that's good.
Let's hope it will be 3 weeks. I will plan everything so good that I can manage to do everything I want.
That's good. You always tend to plan stuff when you're about to travel.
Yeah, but that's, I think if you don't, I don't know who doesn't. If they don't, they have to when they visit already, when they are in the country already. Yeah, I don't like to do that. Actually, I loved doing this before, when it was like more like saving money goal.
Yes.
When it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take the best deal here and I'm gonna travel like for $2 one way somewhere.
Yeah. That doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah, and plus I'm like not really going there to just sightseeing. Sightseeing is the easiest. I don't plan for sightseeing because you just know.
Of course.
If you want to visit specific country, you know what you want to see, right?
Because usually that's how it starts, right? Because you saw or noticed a couple of destinations.
And you want to go there for this reason.
Yeah.
Or at least you are like, okay, I'm gonna check when I land directly.
Sure.
That's at least how it works for me when I just go for a few days to for sightseeing. But when it's like a longer trip and it's involved a lot of logistics and and some actual things that you have to do in a different country, this is like a bit not about traveling right now. So it's like more like a job thing, and you have to keep working, which is a bit.
That's the annoying part, right? You also gotta find out which are the best places where you can actually work and
I mean, this was not hard for me because I do the same here in Sofia. Like if I go to my regular place now.
Yeah.
But still, I like sometimes to get a new place.
Of course.
Just to explore.
It gets annoying.
Yeah. So it's not the worst part about it, but more like you get exhausted from seeing so much new things, and you have to also work while doing this.
Yeah.
And in general, I feel like after a vacation, lately I need another vacation to recover from this vacation.
Yeah, because the first one is not actually a vacation anymore. It's more of a working trip, and
And this changed. Like, I don't know when this switched. I have to maybe do some more like better experience trips where you just enjoy and you don't really, now it's like if I travel I still have to do something useful, and that's the thing I have in my brain already. Like, if I just travel and do nothing, that's a waste of time.
For sure. You actually feel a little bit guilty. Yeah.
And I don't really enjoy it. Like, I have to work all day. I remember last year I was in Lisbon for a week. Imagine how much walking and actually sightseeing I did for a whole week. Maybe I worked 8 hours a day at home somewhere from a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And the rest was just 4 hours when it was still not dark. And I was getting back with the bike or something.
Yeah, and Lisbon is an exhausting city. It's difficult to walk around. It's like you're always.
It's working out.
Yes, for sure. You're always going uphill, basically.
Or downhill, which is worse even sometimes. I don't know. I started hating this. So yeah, I'm gonna also visit it again. So it's gonna be fun for sure. And about this, like, to do something useful when you have you are traveling. It's something I realized when I got more busy maybe with some other stuff, and I got some big goals, let's say, I want to achieve.
Yeah.
And now when I have this, every time I travel, I feel like this is actually something stopping me from
achieving your goals.
Yeah, or from moving forward, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Like my workout routine is fucked. Like when I traveled, it was so bad. Like to find a gym that is not $30 or 30 something for visit.
Yeah.
You should really put some efforts, and sometimes you can get a deal to get a free visit first time.
You gotta start booking hotels instead of Airbnbs, because the hotel usually has a gym. Yeah. I think there is this.
Now I should check this, because I can
sure.
plan this instead of having Airbnb to use. Yeah.
Yes. There is this slow shift that is we're noticing how.
Why people actually use hotels? Because
it used to be like why should we book the hotel? We're gonna book an Airbnb, and now we're going back to the hotels because it's much more comfortable and everything is ready, and you don't have to deal with anything. For sure.
And they clean your room, which is in Airbnbs, like you have to clean after every time you. It's like basically, but that's what I like at the same time, because you live like locals.
Well,
I mean, it's
cleaning your apartment, it's not like a big
it's like a local experience.
It's an experience everywhere. I mean,
you want to be creative while traveling, book Airbnb and clean your house, sleep.
So what did you see in Lisbon? I cleaned my apartment and
I worked.
Yeah.
I lived like all locals in there. I barely saw the beach.
Sure, yeah, makes sense.
It's like my brother lives in Odessa.
Yeah.
His wife. He's literally never visited. For all summer, maybe twice he went on the beach. And he's white as fuck. Like, he never gets a tan.
Yeah.
And and this is something probably all locals are living like that. And that's a bit frustrating when you have this a bit... picture when you travel, like, oh yeah, this other country is so much fucking better than my country. I have to move there. And once you actually do that, or you at least experience this thing when you work and you continue with your life and you don't do anything special, you realize that it doesn't matter almost where you live, unless you live 15 minutes from the beach and you can run 1 hour a day. And enjoy the beach. That's the only thing you can actually find a difference. And maybe the food, the quality of this food that you usually buy from the store or anywhere.
Do you think it makes you reevaluate your own life, your own personal experiences in the city where you actually live? But
yes,
I mean, are you actually able to adopt any changes, or you adopt changes for a week and then you go back to the old routine? Buying food from the same place, going to the same place.
Yeah, you probably do, and that's what I like about my life. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I love doing the same things. I would choose, instead of, like, for example, trying new restaurant every day, I would pick a place and go there every day and pick the same meal, even the same setup, like, I don't know, even same water. If you like.
But shouldn't you, I don't know, try the new restaurant?
I try new restaurants.
Are you disappointed?
It's like I'm this person of a habit, like, as well with the people I meet, or I don't know, relationship, anything.
Yeah.
If I choose something, I'm like, that's gonna be for the rest of my fucking life. This person or this food, this place, Meza.
Yeah. Meza is fucking great.
Yeah. Well,
by the way, every time I go to Meza, I choose the same thing.
Yes, and this is the best thing about it. That's why people go there, I think. That's why people go home, and that's why people love their families, because you have this consistency.
Because it's always the same family.
And I have enough of inconsistencies everywhere else, at work, or I have to do new stuff every day. Enough. I don't want to do new meal.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
But of course, trying new stuff is happening.
Sure. It's inevitable.
Exactly. And sometimes circumstances push you to try new stuff.
Of course.
Like Meza is closed.
Yeah.
You have to just pick another place, or you're just not in a mood and you feel like you want to try it, then yeah.
Sure.
But it doesn't happen every day. You stick to some regime and you follow, I don't know.
Yeah. I've had that happen in during traveling, visiting destinations. I remember in my first time in London.
Nice.
We were students. We didn't have much money, so we ended up eating every single day at KFC or Burger King. I don't remember which one, but it was like for a week, every single time.
Shit.
It's
not healthy.
No. Who cares?
But
it was delicious.
Also, what is the traditional food of English
Britain,
people?
they don't have mashed potatoes.
Exactly. What the fuck is this? Their food is like, it's better to eat in KFC maybe.
Well, the good point is they have plenty of foreign food, cuisine. Yeah.
But
Asian or Indian or...
When I visited like last time, I think we ate once in an Armenian restaurant.
Ooh.
I was expecting like Armenian food, like my favorite shish taouk, basically the same thing I eat in Meza. I wanted to find in London. And it didn't work. It was terrible. It was like a doner put on a plate without even a bread part. And there was no tomato or anything. It was just this salad, the green salad.
Yeah.
And I paid for this £20. That's when I realized maybe it's best if I eat some KFC maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe your strategy was not bad.
It was a very desperate strategy, but it worked. It worked.
Oh my god, where you lived in London?
Some hostel. It was a very nice hostel. They used to have a pub on the first floor. It was fantastic.
I love hostels. It's unfortunate.
Do you? I thought you hated them.
Look. There is the thing. So if you travel alone, then hostels are not
a big no. The
best.
Yeah, of course.
Even though you meet people there.
100%.
Even if you don't want.
Yeah.
You have to say, hey, remove your stinky socks from my bunk bed.
Yeah.
Or the one that are like put to dry, like some clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's usually happening. Or people that live there long term. Ukrainian refugees, etc. So I mean, for this reason I don't like hostels. But if you travel with a group of people, that's the best way. Because
for sure.
You meet other people, you have parties all the time, because that's what you do usually when you live in a hostel. My hostel in Porto, for example, last year was literally a bar as a reception. And it was the best gin tonic I tried. And she even told me, the barman receptionist, aka, she told me this will be the best and the cheapest gin tonic you will ever try. And I was like, okay, maybe this worked, that she programmed me to expect this. But it was the best and the cheapest. It costed me like €4 or something.
Oh shit, that's nothing.
Yeah, and it was good.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
those are the good travels. Those are the good experiences. Not like when you travel for I don't know. I see many people traveling basically like if it's a job to make pictures and to publish them online, or it really looks like a job in terms of the quantity of content they actually put.
Like that some years ago, like maybe 5 years ago, I was like very obsessed with Instagram. And I remember when I was that much obsessed with it, every time I traveled, even I went to sightseeing, even walking in the city, even in my own city where I live, I was feeling like I have to create content. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not a person and I'm not living. I can prove to people that I actually exist or whatever. And if I was like, I don't know, I was annoying people. I was asking them to take a picture of me, and it wasn't good picture, so I was like, can you retake this? And asking for 3 times in a row.
Oh man, that's the worst.
I was this type of person. Can you imagine?
I would have never spoken to you back then.
I know. I mean, I hated myself for this as well. And this is why I probably stopped doing this, because I got eventually I realized how this affects me. How much when I travel, if I don't post, I never been there.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I am not posting a picture with this Eiffel Tower, why did I even come here?
Sure. Like, unless you receive the social approval, it means that you've never been there.
Maybe you have to fulfill this need at one point. Maybe I had to do it.
Yeah.
So I can, I don't know, feel better about myself. But it didn't. It makes you feel worse, actually.
Sure. It's like a drug.
Yeah,
you want it constantly, and you want more.
Yeah.
And the more you get it, the less satisfaction actually you receive.
At one point, it became like an obvious trend. Like when everyone started traveling. Yes. And everyone was like posting the same exact pictures. Just you can switch the face on the person and it would be the same shit. What's the point? I mean, and I think when I traveled once with the friends, it was like 5 years ago to Latvia.
Yeah.
That's when I actually realized it's a bit fucked up.
Yeah.
Because you could see yourself, and with me there were people that are not very active on Instagram, so I could see what they experience vs me, that is seeing everything through the camera. And then I was like, fuck, that's actually big difference when you just don't care about your phone, you just travel and you enjoy the moment and you don't want to make the perfect picture. And that's when I actually did the first trip, when I was like, okay, I don't fucking care if I make a picture or not. And it went like that. So I just tried it myself, like to do like this type of job assignment when you travel and you have to make cool picture, to a level when it was like, okay, I just relax. I'm you are this person. Like I never would imagine you were a person that
posts constantly pictures during the travel.
Do you even have a picture with I don't know where you've been, but I don't know where you've been. That's the thing. About it. Now
I don't make a lot of pictures. I mean, I don't make a lot of selfies or pictures of myself, but I do occasionally.
Even though you look handsome.
Oh, thank you. I don't like doing it. Maybe recently I started posting a little bit more on my social media, but generally speaking, no, I don't like it. But now that I think of it, could very well be an insecurity thing. Just like when you're insecure and you search the social approval, when you post pictures, you post content so that you can receive back the response from the people you know. Maybe I don't feel or didn't feel secure enough to post pictures actually. So could be either one.
But when you travel, I don't know where you've been.
Actually this week I was supposed to be in Bucharest, Romania, but the trip fell apart. Again? My best friend he had a paid leave, but then last minute there were some changes at work, so they canceled the paid leave. And he had to stay. We postponed it for April, I believe. Maybe after Easter, the week after Easter.
Are we going to Madrid? Are you coming?
No, we were supposed to. Yeah, we were supposed to do the half marathon of Madrid. Actually, I just read that the registration's closed, and totally there will be approximately 19,000 people participating.
I'm so excited.
I
think I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'll be in Portugal, but maybe I'll travel to Madrid for one day at least.
You were telling me that it's cheap, so it's like 30 euros. Yeah,
between these two cities. Wow, I didn't know it's so many people. I've never been on such a big race.
Really?
Yeah, I think I've been on the biggest was what it was.
Probably the Sofia one or Moldova. No.
Moldova maybe.
Yeah. Wow.
It was a bit bigger, I think. Moldova. Come on, it's a country like a city.
Yeah.
So it was pretty small compared to maybe 5,000 people.
Crazy.
And I was thinking, wow, It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Imagine running with 90,000 people.
Yes, and here's the thing.
It's 9. Wait, how many villages? It's 10 of my villages. 10, yeah.
What's interesting about those races is that because there's so many people, they start in waves. They don't start all together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you gotta check in which wave you're gonna be, and.
But shouldn't I register for a specific wave if I'm running faster, like with the speed that I want to choose for the race?
I think during the registration you had to.
Oh, I think I mentioned it. I mentioned how much was the best time. So yeah, let's hope I'll be on the right. I think I should be. Yeah, that's how they probably make the race. Probably. Because that's I was registered when I was in Moldova. I was late. Mm-hmm. So I had to run to the race, and the taxi driver left me somewhere like far because all roads are closed for the race. So I had I was registered to be in front. Yeah. Not like super in front, but like pretty in front. So I had to get this thing for attaching the number. Yeah, yeah. And it's a huge line there. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll just hold my number. I don't know how, but I'll be like without it. And I went ahead and had to go through the bunch of people just to get to the point when I think 90,000 people. I have to be like 1 hour there before the race, just to be like on the right place and not feel myself as anxiety and all the crowd just touching. It's not the pleasant. Also leaving your luggage and stuff. Yeah. But yeah.
I was telling you.
You will go to Bucharest.
Probably. Yeah. Actually, I can check if there are any races in Bucharest. Anyway.
Terrible city for running. Unless they close the roads.
Oh, man.
Unless they close them, then it's great because it's a big road.
That's fantastic.
10 rows for cars and one small thing for people, actually. Yeah. It's like with their this ministry or whatever, this building. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They made it so big. And you just think like, why they made it?
Why not? Fuck it. I mean, make it as big as it could be. Now people were visiting the city. Right? Yeah.
You kind of see this stuff, and I mean, it blows my mind. So I'm like, what the fuck? Why people would do that? And it kind of makes me tolerant to people as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Like traveling, I mean, you see so many cultures. Yeah. And they're all different, and they all have their own traditions, their own schedules, let's say.
I think it makes it worse. I don't know. I imagined Rome, for example, in Italy. Okay. So many cultures, and people kind of just stick to their own culture, and they don't want to mess around.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You stick with your own culture, but you live next door to another culture. Yeah. And you're fine with it. I mean, you don't really... If you judge them, I don't think you can live happily. Yeah. Like, you will be just constantly wasting your time for this.
There was a big scandal recently in Italy where the announcer in the metro, one of the metro stations, announced, beware of the gypsies, because apparently there are many gypsies pickpocketing, and
I mean, that's honest. I think it helped someone.
Yeah. Probably.
Even though you should be aware of people in general.
Of course, 100%. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how they look. But coming back to this thing, the traveling is a trend right now.
Oh, 100%.
Would you consider, when you see a person that has been to many places, what does it tell to you? Because for me now, when I see a lot of people bragging about how many countries they visited, I don't see it as a positive thing for some fucking reason.
Why not?
I'm like, how long have you been there? did you have time to actually do a sightseeing, like more in deep than 1 day or 2? Because imagine one lifetime. You visited already 50 countries. You should have had an amazing life, or you just did a fast track with a bus where you stay 1 hour in a city and you visit another and you make a picture. That's actually a real thing. When I knew this, because where I studied in Ukraine, it's a small town. And the only thing about traveling was taking a bus.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tour for 7 days. You literally live in a bus almost.
Yeah.
And what you do is move from one major city to another. You stop by the biggest heritage monuments and stuff. You take a picture. You have exactly this time to take a picture.
Yeah.
And you have to leave to another city. Yeah. And that's like 7 days. I don't know. It's a hell. But you've been to so many countries.
Okay. To play devil's advocate, I've done one of those. It was a week, basically. I think pretty much a week. We went to several countries. I was actually with my grandfather.
Nice. Well, that's a different thing, though.
But just to...
Your grandfather was the main sightseeing, probably.
Yes, for me. But if we leave me aside and we just look at this big trip through his eyes, for him it was absolutely fantastic. Even though it wasn't his first time going abroad, he has already been to several countries. But that particular experience for him, it was absolutely fantastic. He couldn't stop talking about it for weeks and months after we came back. He had all the pictures.
That's nice.
We even bought him we put the pictures on a USB and we attached it. We plugged it into his TV, so he would sometimes just in the afternoon turn on the TV and he would look around the pictures.
So nice.
So from his point of view, even though it was a brief experience in each country, it was a very memorable one.
Yeah. That's the thing about traveling. What I love about one of the biggest benefits for me is being able to live your life at fullest and you have memories.
Yeah.
It's like you spend 1 day in a new city, but it feels like a week here where I live. Because it's not repetitive. You have these new things in your brain happening. It's very interesting how it works. Because when I travel, it's actually true. Like, I did this trip to Rome for 2 days, 3 days full.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I loved it. But I wouldn't... hold on to more days.
Of course, it's exhausting. It's the traveling part that it's exhausting. Sitting on the bus and you can't move. It's worse than I remember. My grandfather. He has always told me that traveling with a bus, I mean abroad, is much worse than or even between cities. It's always worse than the train. And I was like, no way. The bus is much better because it's faster, but it's not. On the train, you can get up, you can do stuff, you can. It's much different. So this part of the trip, the actual traveling, moving through the countries, it's absolutely exhausting.
Yeah, I was using a plane, but to get from the airport to somewhere, you still have to use a bus or something. Sure. So it's like same thing to me. And but this trip to Rome, I remember it like it was a whole week or more.
Sure, for sure.
I have so much memories. I had the 3 runs, each like 10K. Let's say,
really?
Around the city. Yeah.
Fuck.
And I remember every fucking run like I did.
Fantastic.
Because it was in different parts of the city. One morning I was so exhausted because it was so hot.
Yeah.
Even though it was already like 7 a.m. already. No, still 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And it was hot as fuck. I was thinking I will die under this sun.
Even the nights are super hot in Rome. And air conditioning is not a big thing there. So it's even
I lived
exhausting.
In a place with air conditioning.
Oh, that's good. Luxury. You were fortunate.
In a city center. next to Coliseum.
Wow.
Yeah, not from my window, but I could hear actually all neighbors, because it's like they make these buildings like all balconies.
Oh, yes.
So I could like open a window and see like, okay, this neighbor is like listening to the news. The other one is doing some clothes foldering. I don't know, whatever they do. It was so weird, like how you open the balcony and they can see you. I mean, it's good communication channel.
Sure.
To call someone.
Gets people closer one to each other.
Yes. If someone is too loud, you just go to the balcony and like scream. And maybe these short travels are also good. Why was I saying about this, like when it's when you visit too many countries? For me it's still like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a good thing.
Of course, because it's going to depend on the person. Many people do it nowadays just so that they can check on the map that they've been there. I've been to this location, even though
but it's also a way to travel, you know.
It is. I don't know. It's
because some people do this thing like to visit all countries, and they literally just cross the border to check on this country. It's like a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know a traveler, like
it's like an advent calendar, and you're marking all the days.
Yeah, he used to be in Africa, for example, where he had to check on this country that is currently at war.
Okay.
Which was like this Swaziland that is not really on the map, because it's not recognized by all countries, but it's recognized by a few, which means in this challenge that you have to visit it. Imagine doing this. I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah. And in general, countries, what is countries? Where is the border? Like historically, we especially like, I mean, Europe is a bit more old-fashioned, because you have this border for a longer time, while in Africa, like, this country was yesterday one size, today is different, there's a revolution, whatever happening every month, and there are new borders. So you don't really see these big cultural differences. It's more like cultural differences are not related to the borders, more like it's the opposite.
For sure.
While in Europe, though, like, when I travel to Europe, I feel good. I feel safe. I feel like everything is put in place. I know what to expect from each country. I'm like not gonna be surprised by, I don't know, some accidents or whatever happens. I will be safe. And maybe we were lucky to be born in Europe for this, because it's so much. You have no language barrier. Like, everyone speaks English.
Yeah, that's a big thing. There used to be a big language barrier, especially if you hear about it from your parents or your grandparents, if they happen to visit another country. Oh, we couldn't speak to people. We had no idea what to tell them. And now that's basically, it's not existent.
You can hang out with locals, meet them in person. That's really big part of the travel, actually.
Yes.
To meet the locals and be able to talk to them and kind of find out what's their life like every day. The jokes about they're going to work and doing nothing else. That's kind of true, but still they have their different traditions. They have their stuff.
Do you actually do that when you travel?
Yeah, I don't intentionally though choose to speak to locals. It just happens.
If it happens, it happens.
Yeah, and usually you don't really ask them questions like, oh, how do you live or whatever. Like, it's ridiculous to ask this.
Do you boil the potatoes or you fry them?
Yeah.
What's the best way?
They would think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But more like I'm... when you meet them, you just feel the difference sometimes. It's like you don't even have to get into some conversation about this specifically.
Yeah.
But you kind of see these small things that might make you different from one another. But it's not like... Actually, at the same time, you feel like you're the same. You just live... you have a slightly different stuff, but it's the same.
Yeah.
Essentially.
For sure, especially if you travel through Europe.
Yeah. 100%.
What about the United States? You've been there, right?
Shit.
It was a long time ago.
What should I say? Actually, this experience with the bus, that's why I'm judgmental about it. Because I did it because I had to save money. I didn't have much money.
Yeah.
And it was back in 2017 or something.
Okay.
And we hired kind of a tourist bus.
Okay.
That traveled to Grand Canyon and Antelope Canyon and a few other locations. Horse Hole Bend and something else. So we had this trip. They picked us up in San Francisco. First of all, San Francisco sucks.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
It's terrible.
I've always wanted to see those roads.
Come on, this road is 1% of what you see. And it's one road.
But usually. It's the best percent.
No, this is terrible. I don't know how people live there. I mean, I know they have shit ton of money. They never walk.
Isn't it similar to
get
Lisbon?
Cars and they go but they go hiking and stuff.
Yeah.
To somewhere where there are no homeless and drug addicts. But in the city itself,
yeah.
I don't know how you can safely get from one place to another without getting at least a bit of attention from someone that you don't want to get this attention. Anyway, skip that. Like, we got picked up with this bus and we traveled for 8 hours to Las Vegas.
Okay.
And from there we spent the night, and morning we went to the Grand Canyon. It's like 4-hour trip probably. I don't know how much total, but and we spent there 40 minutes.
Yeah.
People make pictures and that's it. And they're like, it's time to go now to the next location. And I'm like, fuck, I'm seeing the most beautiful thing I'm seeing in real life.
Yeah.
And I have 40 minutes because I traveled here 5 hours plus the trip to there and there and there. And I was crying not because of the beautiful place, but because I was like, what the fuck? Why am I wasting my life right now? How am I so poor I can't afford a car? It was because we were not 21 and we couldn't rent it, and I didn't have a driving license, obviously. But still, I mean, what the fuck? Like, and people are fine with it. There were a bunch of tourists that were like, okay, I'm making picture, I'm following the rule, and no one was like, if everyone agreed to stay longer, it would be fine. Yeah. But no, people were like, yeah, we have to go. Like, people that were also paying for this experience.
Of course.
Like, they all want to do it in 24 hours and go back to their own country. Like, it feels like this, you know?
You can't just stay there.
What the fuck? That's why I'm so mad about it.
But the positive thing is, now you managed to visit all those locations. I mean...
What do you mean?
That you, instead of, I don't know, spending 2 days at the Grand Canyon, I mean, not that you can actually stay there, but you managed to visit different popular locations.
Yeah, but that's the thing. What's the price for this? I could afford to spend more time there. It wasn't about this. It's more like logistics and... Yeah, it's best if you travel there to travel with your own car. That's what I definitely suggest. Not to use this type of perks. Same with the Arab Emirates.
Emirates, yeah.
Yeah, what's this country? Sorry about it. There is this tours. Everyone makes pictures of this. How they slide on the skate, like kind of snowboard, but like a sandboard.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a thing there. There is a whole day. They take you with the bus and you go through this whole practice. Like they take picture of you on this tracks. Mm-hmm. You also take this how it's called, this animals that live in a desert. Camels. So they give you a camel. You take a picture with a camel. Basically the whole experience in one day. And after, at the end, these traditional dancers do the entertainment part and singing part and stuff like that. It's like a fucking Las Vegas in one.
In the desert.
Yeah. And that's actually the same thing. It's like Las Vegas, fake countries like Paris, Eiffel Tower. There was everything there.
Sure.
It's like, it's weird people find it amusing, because for me this was like, what is this plastic?
Sounds great, actually. I mean, if you're an American, you live there. Why should you go to France? Of course, you have it already. No.
I mean, yeah, it's terrible. No, I mean, everyone can choose whatever. It's just funny.
It is actually not. When we started talking about when we started this episode, I was a little bit, maybe in my own mind, I was a bit judgmental regarding these bus trips.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Now I'm kind of realizing that fuck it. I mean, why not? Why not? It's
your grandfather was happy about it.
Oh,
this is
100%. But also, you managed to squeeze several locations in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So why should you spend, I don't know, 2 weeks in another country, spending so much money, so that you can kind of visit certain locations with a little bit more comfort, when you can actually kind of squeeze the whole visit in 2 days.
Different ways of traveling, basically. There are 2 types, let's say. The speed and slow. Turtle and a hedgehog.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So I have to say the hedgehog.
No.
Clarify. Yeah, and this kind of still makes, especially these locals, where the countries where they're more poor and they depend on traveling, on the people that come and visit.
Yeah.
This is a bit different, like completely changing your way of seeing this travel.
Sure, your perspective, yeah.
Yeah. For me, the more poor country, let's say, I haven't visited Indonesia, like Bali, all these countries where people travel, but I talked with some people that were in these countries, and the first thing they say, if they're of course self-aware, let's say, or they want to share it, because some people just say, oh yeah, it was great, but they even know what they can say about it, but they just don't tell you because you're not that close with them. But what close person told me that it's very hard to see people that are seeing you as a pocket of money, like as a walking cash.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way for them to make money.
Of course.
And you feel like here, I'll be like racist right now.
Like usual, be yourself. Show your.
Just example with the gypsies here.
Yeah.
What I want to say is they very little amount of people that are this part of Roman culture, Roma culture. They're mostly asking you for money.
Sure.
No one ever wanted to talk to me about anything. It's the same with Bulgarians that randomly usually talk to me. They also ask for money. I don't say it's the same thing, but mostly when I see someone approaching me from this ethnicity, I'm like, okay, this person is probably gonna ask me for money. I still will listen, and that's a stupid thing actually. Very often I get scammed.
Yeah. The more you listen, the worse it gets.
Yes. Once I bought like some stuff. I was at the restaurant and I bought some stuff for a woman, and this woman was complaining to me that I bought too little stuff to her.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, girl.
Because they want to make you feel guilty, right?
But this is not making me feel guilty. I feel like then take this thing back and I will use it. I mean, this is something useful that I spend money on. Like, oh, maybe it's not enough for you, but
sure.
Fine. So, I mean... yeah, and when you travel to such countries, I think this kind of makes it annoying or hard, even like mentally, because you can't relax. You always have to be like aware of what's happening around you, and you are like, even though this place is beautiful, it has this nature that is probably blowing your mind. I can't imagine. I mean, I can. But still not on the same scale. And at the same time, you are around these people that depend on you, kind of. It's I don't feel the same when I travel to Europe.
I guess it's gonna depend on the If you go to the capital, even there, especially if you go to Rome, then I immediately think about Rome. You always have to be aware of your surroundings and what's going on. I get your point, but I don't know.
Yeah, everywhere you can be scammed, I guess.
Oh, 100%.
It's more like how for them $1 is almost a month's salary.
Sure. Yeah.
And for you $1 is buying coffee.
Sure.
At the same country, you go to the coffee shop and spend half the salary. It's fucking crazy for a coffee and a cake. And this makes me, I don't know, I would get depressed there. 100%. I know myself. It's like traveling to Ukraine. I recently traveled. I was depressed for a week after I arrived.
Really?
It's
because
not like
of everything you saw?
It's not that I'm not depressed right now.
You're fine.
I was just more negative in my thoughts. Because once you see what's happening from the inside, you can just... I'm not this type of person that can emotionally not see how people are doing there. It's like I see they're poor.
Yeah.
I see they're struggling because of the war. I see how many problems they have, and how the rest of the world is doing nothing, and I am doing nothing. I come and leave with this money that I bring and leave, and this is like, what the fuck, makes me very depressed. I don't know. This type of traveling is like the worst, where you have to travel in the country with war.
I get your point, but why would you feel so depressed, so sad? It's not like you're stealing money or anything. You're working hard, just like they're working hard.
No,
I understand the
like,
conditions.
I just feel that the rest of the world is not the same, and you forget about this life in Ukraine when you're not there, and when you go there, you kind of get back to this reality that sucks.
Yeah.
And it's actually most of the world.
Yeah, you're reminded that it exists. Yeah.
Yeah, and that sucks because you don't get reminded here. Usually, you live in your regular schedule, bubble with the friends and the money that you spend, and you think it's not enough. And at one point, you just go and you see that some people have like $100 salary a month.
Yeah.
And you realize it's different out there. And the kids that you meet, like it's just okay. Yeah, it's not not for fun, not the traveling for fun.
Yeah, not that type of travel.
So, that's something about it. If you plan traveling, visiting Ukraine, be aware of depression.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Mental health.
Yeah.
How this affects traveling on mental health. Some people want to escape reality or themselves to move to another place, and they think, okay, I will feel better there.
It never works.
It makes it worse. I will say.
I don't know if it makes it worse. It makes you actually realize it. Maybe you are trying to avoid those thoughts. If you're smart enough,
I don't know if it makes you realize it if you are dumb.
No, I think
that's a joke.
Sure. I think it really reminds you that okay, I have to deal with some stuff and I have to confront my own thoughts.
No way of escaping.
Physically you can escape, but psychologically you cannot escape from your thoughts. You have to confront them. You have to face your issues.
Yeah, but you still can distract yourself during this travel, and you will never realize this. That's what I'm advocating for. You don't have to realize.
It's like turning on the TV so that you can distract you. Okay, it's gonna distract you for half an hour, 2 hours. Okay, but then those thoughts are going to come back.
Constantly distracted unless they sleep. Do you realize
I don't think you can. I don't think you can make it. Maybe they fake it or something, but I don't think they actually can escape those thoughts.
I think you can.
Sure.
If you constantly get yourself distracted, you can escape them.
But just, how should I explain it? If you are constantly looking for new distraction, it means that those thoughts are reappearing constantly, and that's why they're triggering that reaction.
That's
you
smart,
having
yes.
to look for something new. Yeah. Now you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I convinced her.
No, it's yeah. So, do you feel like traveling still helps with some mental issues? Like, I mean, not diseases, but like when you feel sad or you want something new in your life, and traveling can be a way of getting new emotions. Kind of filling up your memories with something positive.
100%. It does have a purpose. That's why people tend to do it. Okay, let's leave people that do it for work or to get more popular on social media. But yeah, it makes you recharge your batteries for sure.
Yeah.
Even if it's not what you expected, even if you planned a big trip to fucking Spain and you go there and it's not the best thing. I have one of my closest friends 2 or 3 years ago. He went with his fiancée and his family, actually, his parents and his brother, this big trip. They planned this big trip to Spain. They went there, and the day they arrived, these big massive protests against the government started, and they were pretty aggressive and violent, so that the police had to patrol the streets, and there was a curfew. They couldn't go out after 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whatever it was. So 90% of the time they ended up staying in the hotel.
Wow.
So even if that's the final result of the trip, it's still kind of positive. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say for me traveling. I have to plan.
Yeah,
that's for sure. That was for me when I was in my village. It was a scary thing to do. And I think it's a scary thing for some people that were never doing this. Like, it's a task you have to do. Like, it's not the pleasant thing that you plan. And some people are born and they travel. I wasn't born and travel. Okay, for me the travel was like traveling to the nearest city.
Sure.
To get clothes and food.
Sure.
That was the travel. So when I first visited, it was Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, different money. Like, actually these things are sold there. Like, there's a mall.
Yeah.
You know? This is very valuable. This is super, even it's more important than people that live in Europe in a normal, let's say, circumstances. It's more vital to travel to these people that are not living in a big city, that are never able to travel in their regular days, or they can't afford to do it. You actually have to do it. If you're this person, you have to do it. You have to push yourself. It's not best experience. It's more a problem than actually.
Of course.
But if you do it, this makes you like think, oh, my life can be like that. I can see how these people live, and it's possible for me to live like that. It's not 100%. Like they're special or something. And life doesn't end with this place that you live in. That's what it makes. It's kind of like expanding your mind to a bigger picture. It gives you better understanding of this world as well. And what I said about this getting less judgmental, this works for me like that, because I understand like now, oh yeah, this person looks like this, but there is a whole country that looks like this.
Yeah.
Why should I be feeling, I don't know, bad about it? So I think that's like a good thing, like what I wanted to mention about travel. We mentioned shit ton of bad things, I think. We're so negative.
It's easy to point to negative immediately. Yeah. We tend to get stuck with that sometimes to notice the negative. There is plenty of positive. There 100% there is.
The best for me is like memory. Your life, you feel like you lived longer life. I'm pretty sure people that traveled a lot. Maybe that's why your grandfather was so obsessed with his travel, because he eventually lived a long life probably.
Yes.
But if he didn't travel that much, or the travel that he did are in his memory taking so much more space right now than the big chunks of his life, the 10 years that he spent in his own town.
Yeah. Very much true.
And I want to live a life of a person that traveled to many places, that can remember a lot of stuff, so that I can feel like, oh, I lived the life. I didn't spend my whole life in some town and did the same thing. Even though if it was like development, again, about this like traveling and wasting your time, well, it's a waste of time, but it's for good.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
and money. That's negative.
Certainly. So less pictures, more memories, right?
Yes. Let's put it as a
title of the episode.
I think that's all I wanted to mention. I don't know if there is anything.
I think we can do a second part when you come back from Spain.
Oh, yeah, we should. I'll tell you my fresh experiences.
Sure. All the negative and a couple of positive. No, just joking.
No, nothing positive. I know what to expect. I did the same thing last year.
Yeah, true.
It was terrible.
Oh, come on.
No, it's good.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, we have a deal then.
Perfect. Talk to you next week then.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.